Hi. I just wanted to say I've used your videos a lot. I just graduated from UW. I did a biology degree, so I use your science videos a lot. Well, thank you for
send a video in.
I will do I wanted to ask, after I graduated, I was kind of looking for something to do, and so I decided to try tutoring people. So I was tutoring some high school kids, and I was tutoring some other people. And, I found it hard to tutor in something that you sort of get naturally. Something like math to me sort of just came naturally. And when I had to tutor somebody in math, it's really hard for me. And so sometimes I'd show them a video of yours, and then they'd be like, we don't need you anymore. I was wondering if you have an explanation for how you're able to, did you have to learn all that stuff yourself and then reteach it, or are you just inherently like good at teaching? Because it just seems weird that like every single video you made like seems to make so much sense to everyone. A lot of people in my college used it, and they all said, these videos make sense, so how do you explain why you're able to make
Well, thank you. You're making a brown man blush. I mean, if I had a theory, it would be, when I was young, I was always obsessed with kind of trying to understand why something was, and you find it out, but you too, I mean, in mathematics, you realize that when you really get it, it starts to become very, very simple. And I think maybe what I do that I often don't see in some type of, especially instructional video or things like that, is I'm very transparent with my thought processes, almost to the point that, it's a vulnerability. I mean, people, I'm doing a calculus problem, but even while I'm doing a calculus problem, I have to remind myself about arithmetic. I have to remind myself about negative numbers. I have to remind myself about why something works. And I'll say it out loud. So I think maybe for some reason that transparency of thought. I think another thing is that, and it was a luxury that I started doing it for novices, because it allowed me to be very relaxed. If the first video Bill Gates had come to make a video for me, Sal, and here's some resources, I think I would have fallen under the trap that a lot of kind of professionally produced education content, it's very polished, edited, it's scripted, it looks nice, but it sounds like your GPS device. The next step is photosynthesis. That's like a minor concept. And you're like, well, that's nice, but that's not really connected. There's not a human being on the other side of that. And so I think there's a connection there. The other thing I try to do, and this is something, I was always the kid that, someone was even a little bit patronizing, I would get angry and storm out of the room. And so I'm highly sensitive to tone. And so I try my best to not be either talk above people or be patronizing. And what I tell people is you need to sound like you respect the person that you're talking to. And the best way to sound like you respect someone is to respect them. No, but seriously, and if you do that, you say, look, the person I'm talking to, for me, it's talking to an imaginary person. I'm talking to my cousin. I'm talking to, maybe I'll start imagining some of you as the person I'm talking to. I'm like, well, that person's smarter than anybody else. They just don't understand this concept just yet. I seem to have kind of a way of thinking about it in my head, and let me just try my best to communicate it. But yeah, I mean, but thank you. I appreciate that.
Hey, first of all, thank you.
That's a lot, dude.
My first day this year, Matt.